Beyond Florence, its indisputable star, the stunning region of Tuscany in central Italy boasts several other enchanting towns overflowing with Italian charm. One of them is Lucca, a historic town still enclosed in its Renaissance walls. Although you could easily spend many days in Lucca, taking in its slow pace of life and savoring la dolce vita, one sip of cappuccino or spritz at a time, in this video we're showing you what to do in Lucca on a day trip. Before we dive deeper into what to do in Lucca in a day, here's something to remember. If you plan to see Lucca on a day trip, you should only do so if you're based in a nearby city, like Florence, Pisa, or any other destination less than 2 hours from Lucca. Traveling by train is the best way to get to Lucca for a day trip. Train rides between Lucca and nearby Tuscan cities are frequent, comfortable, and short. During your Tuscany trip, you will most likely be based in Florence, which is connected to Lucca with many direct trains throughout the day. Once you arrive in Lucca, it's a short walk from the train station to the city's celebrated walls, which have remained intact throughout the centuries. Turned into a park as early as the beginning of the 19th century, Lucca's walls are the city's main attraction. The entire length of Lucca's walls is a splendid promenade that you can walk or cycle along, marveling at breathtaking views along the way. This is why we recommend saving this memorable experience for later, to end your Lucca day trip in a unique way. So, for now, head to the heart of the historic center to begin your stroll through this magical Italian town. Lucca's nickname sets the tone for the sightseeing that awaits. Known as the town of 100 churches, Lucca has had strong bonds with religion throughout the centuries. Therefore, it makes sense to make your first stop at the Cathedral of Lucca. When you're ready to step inside St. Martin's Cathedral, after admiring its elegant facade, notice the labyrinth carved on the marble pillar of the right arch. Once inside, have a look at its elaborate ceilings and floors, paintings by famous artists, and an impressive funerary monument dedicated to Ilaria del Carretto, the wife of Paolo Guinigi. You will hear this name again later in this video. However, the centerpiece of Lucca's cathedral is Volto Santo, a wooden monument depicting Christ on the cross. During our visit in the summer of 2024, Volto Santo was under restoration in a lab set up inside the cathedral. If you are up for a climb, the cathedral's characteristic wide-topped bell tower offers panoramic vistas of Lucca and its surroundings. With the same ticket, you can also visit the church of Saints Giovanni and Reparata, which is just around the corner from the cathedral. If you ask us, any Italian church is worth a visit for its artistic and architectural value. But this church in Lucca is worth your time for yet another reason. Within its depths, it hides an entire archaeological site that spans 12 centuries of history. Among the ruins, you will be amazed by the stunning mosaics that date back to the early Roman times, the remnants of Roman baths, and the mind-blowing remains of an earlier baptistry and church. Of course, there's yet another bell tower to climb here, but if you can't handle 3 climbs on the same day, skip it, because your next stop involves yet another challenging ascent. But not before a seductive stroll through Lucca's maze-like core with its narrow alleys and quaint squares. With its iconic tree-topped roof, Guinigi Tower is one of the symbols of Lucca. It was owned by the Guinigi family We have already met a member of the Guinigi family at the Cathedral of Lucca. The Guinigi family was one of the wealthiest and most powerful families in 14th century Lucca. Back then, rich families would construct tall towers within the walls of Lucca to show off their wealth and status. After all this climbing, it's time for a refreshing break at one of Lucca's most emblematic squares. As its name suggests, Piazza dell'Anfiteatro was built on the site of a Roman amphitheatre, the remains of which are still incorporated in the pale shaded buildings that line the square. Our love for Italian piazzas is no secret, but we may have an even softer spot for this particular square. If you can resist the urge to spend the rest of the day people watching at the piazza, the Basilica di San Frediano is only a few steps away. You will recognize it by the glistening mosaic on its facade. Overlooking a charming little square, the church features a beautiful interior with several lavishly decorated chapels. Continue walking past quintessentially Italian buildings until you stumble upon the statue of Giacomo Puccini, the greatest opera composer after Verdi. If you're interested in learning more about his life and work, and your schedule allows it, you can visit the on-site Puccini Museum. If not, continue to Piazza San Michele to step inside the imposing church of San Michele in Foro. We promise it's the last church you will be visiting. Its facade is dominated by a tall statue of Archangel Michael on the roof. Once inside, you can see the mummified body of San Divino, a pilgrim saint. The square that awaits outside carries the essence of the Italian dolce far niente, the sweetness of doing nothing. For that alone, it's worth your second and last pit stop for a meal or drink. But don't forget that the best part of your Lucca day trip awaits, so save enough time for this. With a total length of a little over 4 kilometers, the promenade of Lucca's Walls is a remarkable way to enjoy panoramic views of Lucca in the most scenic setting. There's no better way to end your day in Lucca than a long stroll or bicycle ride along its magnificent walls. Four-wheeled rentals are also available at the town's several bicycle rental shops. From experience, we can guarantee that these are a lot of fun. If you have time for a small detour before you catch your train from Lucca, walk to the Acquedotto Nottolini, an impressive 19th century aqueduct that remains utterly photogenic. We've now reached the end of this video, hoping that it helps you plan your own day trip in this lovely Tuscan town. However, if you prefer, you can see Lucca and Pisa on a guided day trip from Florence instead. We have included links to some top-rated guided tours in the description below. If you enjoyed our video about what to do in Lucca on a day trip, please like it, share it with your friends, or leave us a comment below. Of course, we'd love you to join our community by subscribing to our YouTube channel. See you next time!